ADR. Promoting dialogue.
It's midday in Dakar and 1 o'clock in Abuja. Good afternoon and thank you for staying tuned to West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and around the world at wadr.org. Welcome to Newslink. First, our top stories. Senegalese President Diomaye Faye gives a grand welcome to the national team at Dakar Airport.
I'm happy. I'm really happy because my nation won the World Cup, Africa Cup.
I'm a Senegalese and I watched the final in Germany and we're all very happy.
Authorities in Burkina Faso arrest a suspect in murder of former Minister Compaoré. Nigeria's National Electoral Commission publishes electoral timetable for 2027 elections. The Gambia and United States agreed to strengthen bilateral ties and cooperation amid a new visa policy.
We're engaged in dialogue with the government on this issue, and we will continue to do that to talk about the things that need to be done.
Please stay tuned for details of these stories and plenty more.
On the news, this is a more edit.
Many thanks for joining our broadcast and a warm welcome to all of our viewers on YouTube and Facebook. Newslink begins in Senegal, home of the AFCON 2025 champions, who were warmly received on arrival at Dakar's international airport by President Diomaye Faye. The head of state was accompanied by Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko, cabinet ministers, and other senior government officials. Upon disembarking, the captain of the Teranga Lions, Kalidou Koulibaly, presented the trophy to President Diomaye Faye, who then greeted the players and members of the technical staff in an orderly salute. Well, joining me briefly on the news this afternoon is Sankule Danko to look at this development. Sankule, welcome.
Yes, thank you, Imo. And talking about that, the WTM team reports that all major routes leading to the airport were decorated with Senegalese flags displayed on cars, commercial and tour buses, motorbikes and billboards celebrating the Lions' return. Later today, the champions will take part in a victory parade through the streets of Dakar before meeting the head of state at the presidential palace approximately at around 4 p.m. thereabout.
Indeed, great lineup this. Well, we do have joining us online Mr. Kara Chon. He is the spokesperson or communications officer for the Senegalese Football Federation. Mr. Kara, thank you so much for your time and welcome to Newslink. Yes, we can hear you, but can you be more audible?
Very well.
Great. So the team has arrived and the fanfare is, in fact, started last night. Take us through what we should be expecting today.
Okay. I just imagine the question you might ask me, because actually I do not get you very well.
Okay.
How did we leave the situation last night or things like that? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm asking you to take us through what we should be expecting
we
today.
We arrived last night after... Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, please go ahead. We can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Okay. Because I actually do not get your question coming to the... I will say that after a very long flight from Morocco to here in Dakar, so we arrived last night a little bit late after our victory. Now we are heading to the presidential palace. The president is going to host us by 4 p.m. For the time being, we are going to do a kind of long through the streets of Dakar from our hotel where we are in Jamajo, going along the highway. I mean, it's going to be a very long trip from here to the palace, and we are expecting thousands or even say millions of people
absolutely
to welcome the Senegalese lion who came victorious of this AFCON.
Yes, Mr. Chun, I understand officially you intended to depart the hotel at 11. Have you guys already depart?
Oh,
Are you still at the hotel or you've already
yeah,
departed?
right. I'm sorry. Yeah, the line is not
Well, can you?
good, and since we are having a live broadcast, I'm afraid it might be very comfortable for listeners because I don't get the questions, and I'm having
All right.
problem to really
No
reach
problem.
your questions.
Thank you
Right.
so much,
Hear
Mr.
you.
Karachan, for talking to us this afternoon. Well, that was the communications officer for the Senegalese Football Federation. Well, thankfully you had that.
Yes, of course. I mean, we wanted to get some details about the program today. And according to him, I mean, earlier on we had a conversation. He said the program of the trophy parade today, I mean, they will start off, like he said, from Jamnyadjo, their hotel. And from there, they're expected to go through Padua. From Padua, they will successfully, I mean, cross the EMG roundabout, then through there to Castor. And then from Castor, they're expected to use the Bourguiba Avenue, then to the Maison Senghor. That is the first president of the Senegal, the former president. I mean, that is Augustin Senghor. I mean, Senghor rather, I should say. And then from there, they will use the Corniche Road
Roundabout.
and then the roundabout, the Corniche roundabout, and then from there to the Palais of the Republic. That is the presidential palace, where they are expected to hand over the trophy to President Bassirou Diomaye Faye.
Indeed. Well, he also mentioned that thousands, perhaps millions, will be expected to throng the streets in receiving the team. But let's hear from Senegalese citizens and fans who were at the airport late Monday to welcome the Teranga Lions.
I'm happy. I'm really happy because my nation won the World Cup Africa Cup. And then everybody are here to support.
My name is Fatou. I'm a Senegalese, and I watched the final in Germany, and we're all very happy. La justice de Dieu. You know, only God exists.
Sadio Mane said he will be retiring after this AFCON. Do you feel good about that?
If he wants to, yes, because he did everything for the country. So actually, yes.
We have the best team in Senegal, and I'm so proud of them too. Yesterday, I was weeping, non-stop. Really, I'm so proud to be Senegalese. Yes.
Well, there you have it, Senegalese citizens and fans were at the airport late Monday to welcome the Teranga Lions.
Yes, indeed. I mean, and then from here, we'll be heading to the presidential palace to give our listeners the updates as things, events unfold there.
Exactly. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Well, away from AFCON, let's cross over now to the Sahel, precisely in Burkina Faso, where the former junta leader has reportedly been returned to the country. Colonel Paul Henry Sandaogo Damiba, until his arrest and expulsion by the Togolese authorities, was seeking refuge in the country following his overthrow by the current transitional president of Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Christopher Tisha reports.
According to sources, Burkina Faso's former transitional president Paul Henry Sandaogo Damiba was arrested in neighboring Togo and expelled. Damiba was reportedly detained last week in Lomé and questioned over alleged attempt to destabilize Burkina Faso. He was afterwards taken to the airport. A regional security source and a Togolese source confirmed that Damiba was put on the plane back to Ouagadougou. As of late Monday, authorities in Burkina Faso had not issued an official statement. Damiba, a former lieutenant colonel, seized power in a January 2022 coup that overthrew President Roch Marc Christian Kabore. He was ousted 8 months later by Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Since then, Burkina Faso's military rulers have accused him of plotting several coups and assassination attempts against Traoré. The most recent plot was reported on January 3 when the military alleged that he coordinated a scheme of targeted killings of civilians and military officials.
Christopher Ticho filed a report. Elsewhere, the appeal trial of former Malian Prime Minister opened on Monday before the Bamako Court of Appeal. During the hearing, defense lawyers called for the outright annulment of the ruling issued by the Cyber Crime Court. The court had sentenced Musa Mara a few months ago to 2 years in prison, including a 1-year suspended sentence. He's been prosecuted, among other charges, for undermining the credit of the state and opposing legitimate authority. Francis Boniface reports.
After several hours of hearings before the Court of Appeal, defense lawyers challenged the ruling delivered by the Court of Appeal in charge of combating cybercrime. They argued that the first instance decision was not based on sufficiently established evidence. The defense therefore asked the Court of Appeal to overturn the judgment and to grant Musa Mara a full and unconditional acquittal. Counsel for the former Prime Minister maintains that the charges against their client lack both legal and factual grounds. They contend that the alleged acts do not constitute offences under the law and denounce what they describe as an excessive interpretation of the applicable legal text. Muntanga Tal, lead counsel for the former head of government, said he hopes that justice will finally be done. For its part, the Office of the Prosecutor General upheld the first instance ruling, arguing that the cybercrime court properly assessed the facts and correctly applied the law. By way of reminder, Musa Mara was sentenced last October to 2 years in prison, including 1 year to be served. He is being prosecuted for undermining the credit of the state, disturbing public order, spreading false news, and opposing legitimate authority. In a social media post published last July, Musa Mara said he was prepared to fight by all means, quote, so that the sun may follow the night, end of quote, after visiting several detainees he described as prisoners of conscience. At the close of the proceedings, the Court of Appeal adjourned the case for deliberation until February 9.
A report by WDL's Aliu Cham in Bamako and voiced by Francis Boniface. Away from the Sahel, the electoral umpire Nigeria has released a timetable for the 2027 general elections. The publication provides dates for the presidential poll, state gubernatorial, and parliamentary elections, as well as municipal elections. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) also outlines key dates for party primaries, voter registration, and campaigns. WDL's Chinus Hasich completes the story.
The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) says presidential and National Assembly elections will hold on Saturday, February 20, 2027, while governorship and State House of Assembly elections are scheduled for Saturday, March 6, 2027. INEC said the release of the timetable marks the formal commencement of preparations for the next electoral cycle, providing political parties, aspirants, and voters with a clear roadmap ahead of the polls. According to the Commission, campaigns for the presidential and National Assembly elections will begin on November 18, 2026 and end at midnight on February 19, 2027. INEC cautioned political parties and candidates to strictly adhere to the approved campaign periods, warning that early or late campaigning would amount to a violation of electoral regulations. Party primaries are scheduled to take place between July 1 and September 30, 2026. The Commission will receive candidates' lists from October 1 to October 31, 2026 and publish the final list of candidates on November 15, 2026, stressing that only duly submitted candidates will be eligible to contest. To enhance voter participation, INEC also announced that continuous voter registration will be conducted nationwide from April 2026 to January 2027, giving eligible Nigerians the opportunity to register, transfer, or update their voter details ahead of the elections. For WADR, Yechini Sasetu reporting from Abuja.
More on electoral matters, the Constitutional Court in Benin has confirmed the final results for the legislative and municipal elections as announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission (SENA). The legislative polls were overwhelmingly won by parties aligned with the ruling majority. As a result, Benin will have a parliament without an opposition for the next 7 years. This outcome has sparked widespread reactions among residents in Cotonou. Let's have the report. In Cotonou, residents closely followed the announcement of the legislation. You're listening to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and online at wadr.org. Here is a reminder of our top stories. Senegalese President Diomaye Faye gives a grand welcome to the national team at Dakar Airport. Authorities in Burkina Faso arrest a suspect in murder of former Minister Compaoré. Nigeria's National Electoral Commission publishes electoral timetable for 2027 general elections. And still ahead, the Gambia and the United States agree to strengthen bilateral ties and cooperation amid new visa policy. We will have the press review, a guest interview, and sport news. Please stay with us.
West Africa Democracy Radio. It's you speaking.
Don't forget we're streaming live on wadr.org, YouTube, and Facebook. Now to some diplomacy and cooperative matter. The Gambia and the United States have reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening diplomatic and economic relations between the two countries. The pledge was renewed during a courtesy visit of the Charge d'Affaires of the U.S. Embassy in Banjul to the American Chamber of Commerce in the country. Discussions focused on expanding business opportunities, supporting Gambian enterprises, and addressing recent changes to the U.S. visa policy. WDL Sang Danamendi has more details in this report.
The engagement underscores ongoing efforts by Banjul and Washington to deepen diplomatic ties and promote economic cooperation. Discussions were held behind closed doors, focusing on several sectors with particular emphasis on trade and investment between the two countries. The Charge d'Affaires at the U.S. Embassy in Banjul, Igwen Esiong, addressed the recent pause on certain immigrant visas, the migration policy that affects 75 countries, including the Gambia, takes effect this month.
Individuals who have valid visas currently, they are still able to travel to the United States, but it's very, very difficult for us now to issue visas to Gambians at our embassy here in Banjul. I think we're engaged in dialogue with the government on this issue, and we will continue to do that, to talk about the things that need to be done to hopefully be in a position to normalize the situation in the future. But right now, we're at this is a new development that our president has announced, not just for the Gambia, but with many countries.
Officials welcomed the visit, stressing the importance of continued dialogue to ensure local businesses benefit from bilateral trade initiatives despite the policy changes. Igwen Esiong reassured its commitment to support trade, promote investment, and strengthen economic ties with Banjul. It is worth noting that U.S. trade with the Gambia reached approximately $280 million in goods and services in 2024. These include vehicles, plastic, fish, and oils. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, I am Sangdona Mendy, reporting from Banjul.
This is the newspaper review. Stay abreast and find out what the top stories are in your country.
This is the newspaper review.
The newspaper review.
Well, today's press review takes us to Liberia, where we join WDL's Abraham Parker for a summary of major and banner headlines.
Welcome. This edition features two local dailies. We begin with the Independent newspaper with volume 23, number 656. Banks in Liberia SCU reserves doubled to LD 2.2 billion. 3,277 past year entrance female candidates retain top spot. Millennium Challenge Cooperation Dedication holds technical engagements with LERC. Well, that does it for the Independent newspaper. We'll take a quick look at Front Page Africa newspaper with volume 19, number 012. Boaka's inner circle splits over re-enacted post-regulatory act. Front Page Africa is reporting that it has learned that the Minister of Justice, Councillor Oxford Tour, has again advised the President to veto the bill, arguing that lawmakers failed to adequately address the concerns raised in the initial veto. In contrast, the President's legal advisor, Bushuben Keita, is reportedly leading a group with the executive that opposes another veto. And demanding transparency and accountability, lawyer for alleged rape victim questions police exoneration of suspended Deputy Minister Mangeo. Well, that does it for this Tuesday's edition of Press Review from Liberia's capital, Monrovia. Thanks so kindly for listening.
Many thanks, Abraham Parker.
Politics, analysis on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
Our guest segment examines the impact of a one-party parliament on parliamentary democracy, particularly on the oversight of government action. For the second time in 6 years, Benin finds itself with a National Assembly made up of exclusively lawmakers from the two political parties that form the ruling majority. Over the next 7 years, there is expected to be little or no adversarial debate in Parliament, with legislators largely aligning themselves with the executive's governance agenda. To shed light on these issues is Patrick Hunu, a lecturer and researcher at the University of Abomey-Calavi and an expert in democratic governance.
Mais vous savez que au niveau donc de l'Assemblée nationale.
You know that at the level of the National Assembly, the mission of elected parliamentarians is well known, namely to pass laws and oversee government action. It goes without saying that when you have a one-party parliament, oversight of government action and the passing of laws may not function in the same way as in a parliament where both the ruling majority and the opposition are represented. It should be added that a one-party parliament will in reality naturally serve as a sounding board for the executive branch. However, this does not prevent debate from taking place. It is true that when these debates are raised and held, they are not necessarily of a nature that would sanction the government, and so there will naturally be collaboration, a form of collaboration that allows the executive to implement its action program without difficulty, that is, without any obstruction.
Sans difficulté, donc sans coup férir.
Can we speak of a situation that would undermine parliamentary democracy in Benin?
C'est relatif. Parce que justement,
the idea is that we must arrive at implementing a form of democracy that enables African countries to solve their problems without necessarily remaining tied to the models or cliches of European countries. The view is that European countries have already resolved a certain number of problems and can therefore afford to practice democracy as they do, whereas others still need to meet development challenges. So should we fear for democracy? To a certain extent, if you are talking about a democracy that involves accompanying the executive in the implementation of public policy, then on that front there is no problem. But in terms of democratic, live, contradictory debates and challenging a number of models proposed by the executive, it is obvious that within a one-party parliament there will not really be challenges commensurate with what we might see if the parliament were more diversely represented.
The main opposition party, the Democrats, obtained 16% of the votes in the legislative elections. But the new electoral code stipulates that a party must obtain 20% of the votes in each constituency to enter parliament. This was not the case for the Democrats, who were unable to reach that score in all constituencies. As a result, the party will not be able to sit in parliament. Should the new electoral code be reviewed to avoid once again ending up with a National Assembly dominated by a single political camp?
I don't think so, because the objective is to achieve a very large representation. It's also about forcing certain parties to work together with others, and you will understand even the parties that are represented, the parties within the ruling coalition that have practically won all the seats in the chamber. These parties have signed agreements in the meantime. So when you sign agreements, you optimize your chances. You position yourself to have the possibility of winning seats. And that's what the Democrats haven't been able to do.
Patrick Hunu is a lecturer and researcher at the University of Abomey-Calavi and an expert in democratic governance. In sport news, Morocco star Brahim Diaz has apologized after missing a crucial late penalty in Sunday's 2025 Africa Cup of Nations final against Senegal. The match was goalless deep into stoppage time when VAR awarded Morocco a penalty, but Diaz's chipped effort was saved by Senegal keeper Edouard Mendy. Senegal went on to win in extra time and lift the AFCON trophy. After the defeat, the Real Madrid midfielder took to social media to accept full responsibility, saying the miss would be hard to overcome, but promising to keep pushing forward for his country and supporters. Despite the disappointment, Diaz has received widespread backing from fans and teammates, praising his courage and leadership in a moment of intense pressure. Several African nations have made significant gains in the latest FIFA rankings released on Monday, following strong performances at the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. Despite losing the final to Senegal, Morocco climbed 3 places to 8th in the world, entering the top 10 for the first time in their history and overtaking teams like Germany, Belgium and Croatia. AFCON champion Senegal were also rewarded, jumping 7 spots to 12 globally, their highest ever ranking, and remaining Africa's second best team. Nigeria and Algeria also recorded upward movement, while Spain continued to lead the world rankings ahead of Argentina and France. And we've come to the end of this edition of Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening, and many thanks to Ismaila Kamara and Maudoju for the technical support. Let's keep the conversation coming on all of our social media platforms, TikTok, X, Instagram, and Facebook at WADR English. Coming up next is Info Check, and at 1 p.m. you will have the French news. I am Imo Edet. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM, New EMI FM 94.0,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County,
Radio Kagama 94.5 FM, Niba County, DCN Radio 91.3 FM, Riverside County, Wakat FM Radio, Banga, Liberia, Radio Baf FM 91.3 Sierra Leone in Nigeria, and Love 104.5 FM Abuja.
For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you, your views, and your opinions.